everyone. We meet again this week in Fashion Chat with Dinesh, Chandrasena, and Raffles Design Institute. Now, this week, Dinesh, we're going to speak about what is the future of these high-end fashion brands, which is we know like Chanel, Armani, Bulgari, and then compared to the new rising brands like Zara, H&M, what else? Maybe Topshop, Mango, which is they're like more into the affordable range for the main market. But how is the future actually according to you?
Fashion design at its very highest end, which is haute couture and the high end of designer. You mentioned some names like Armani and Chanel. Companies like that, they are aspirational. They inspire, they set the benchmark, they showcase the highest end of craftsmanship, of beauty, of design capabilities. So it's not only, let's say, their sewing techniques and embellishments, but also they are leaders in innovation with fabric technologies. So if you take the higher end brands, they work very hard to keep inspiring the people around. So how this ties in with your point about the high street brands, which is H&M, etc. Karl Lagerfeld did a collection for H&M.
Okay.
So how that works is they also, as designers, they create, they inspire, and they put items where the brand name is included, Karl Lagerfeld, but it's made more affordable and for the mainstream market. So H&M, Zara, Topshop, Miss Selfridge, Mango, etc. They are very strong brands that are affordable, are able to feed the mass market, but at the same time, the trickle-down theory from the very high designers comes through to them.
Okay, but how do you think, these designers going to, it means that face this challenge? Because mainly I agree with you, okay, but Karl is like one in a million, okay? Not every of these high-end designers, they release some collection affordable for like Zara. But we see the progress that when you go to Zara, okay, you find something not the same but similar style with Chanel or something, which is it's not Chanel. It's not. It's also a genuine one. It's original one. It's not a fake one, but similar style. And because we know there are like a trendsetter, like you say.
Right.
So people are really referring to these kind of styles. But how do they going to face the challenge? Because they know their market is not as big as like Zara or H&M.
Of course. Well, the high-end brands, they rely very heavily on their cosmetic sales, their perfume sales, accessory sales. So if you take Dior, their perfumes sell a lot. Same with Chanel, Chanel No. 5, Mademoiselle, all that. Those are very strong money earners for the very high-end brands. Haute couture doesn't per se make money for the brand. It's just like the spearhead. It's a rah-rah moment for them to say, here we are, we're Chanel. But what they make money on is more of the accessories, more of the affordable pieces.
Okay.
And what that does is everyone can buy into the brand. So let's say a young woman who cannot afford a Chanel jacket at $5,000 can afford a Chanel lipstick at $35.
Okay.
And in that, she has bought into the Chanel mystique, the Chanel brand, the Chanel name, and without having to, splurge a huge amount. With the high street brands, what usually happens is the inspirations can come from all around. They're very talented design teams, and they make it more accessible for the mass market. Because the most expensive brands are not really attainable for everyone. Even the ready-to-wear collections are very expensive. So the mass market is very strong, making sure that they are able to cater to what the general public needs.
Okay, and as we both aware, we are all aware that fashion industry is something which is very unique, because actually no matter how expensive your line of product is, there is some people who will still looking for it, and they can afford it, and they get it. But when it comes to, let's say now we're talking about someone who wants to be a designer, which one actually do you think not better, but it means that they can choose, which is being a designer and build their dreams to be one of the high-end designers, or they go to the mass market, which is more affordable, and then I don't know, profit-wise, it's much more easier to run rather than a high-end product.
As fashion designers, if you're a creator at the high end, there is, of course, the banner moments. You'll be in Vogue magazine, you'll be featured on FTV, you'll be having spotlights showing at Paris Fashion Week, events, galleries will showcase your products, new shop openings in different parts of the world. So there's a great PR perspective when it comes to the very high-end brands. But when it comes to the high street brands, from a lucrative standpoint, they pay well. And it's very fast-paced, the teams are large, and it's less focused on an individual.
Okay.
So for example, you'll have, let's say, Yves Saint Laurent, who created for Dior, or you'll have Karl Lagerfeld, who created for Chanel. Now if Karl Lagerfeld was designing at H&M, it'll be H&M. Karl Lagerfeld wouldn't get probably the same spotlight as he would at the high-end brands, where they walk on the runway, take a bow, all that.
Okay, so now let's switch back the question. We already spoke about high-end fashion brands, but what do you think? How long this high street fashion brand, you call it high street, high street fashion brands going to last? Because we know all these high-end fashion brands, they already like more than 20, 30 years, and they're still there. They're really very strong. But what do you think? How is this high street brands going to last? How long? What do you think about it?
I think the high street brands are very sustainable in the sense that it is going from strength to strength. Like you mentioned earlier, companies like H&M have collections out very often. They're seasonal. They also have theme-based, like they had the Coachella collection. So it appeals to a wide market. You could be 15 years old, you could be 55 years old, you could be 75 years old and find clothes. So what they do is they appeal to a broader market. Their price ranges are very broad. They have sales quite often. So these high street brands will keep going from strength to strength. They will succeed. With the high-end designer brands, what they do, as we said, is they inspire. And if you take, for example, Chanel, Mademoiselle Chanel from the 1920s, now we're pretty much 100 years on.
Yes,
and a company like that, it's still very strong. Chanel is Chanel. People who want to buy Chanel will buy Chanel. I think there's room in the world and room in the market for both to exist. One will feed off the other, and one will always inspire and get inspired.
Yes, and I believe this high-end fashion brands, it's very different. Okay, it's very different. For example, I'm wearing polo shirts right now, and it's very different with some of random brands. It feels and the look and the cutting and everything. So I believe, like you said, they will still have market for it. Whatever happened, it's very different. Definitely, it's very different. Some people say the price can't lie. Also,
but also, I think it's a world that we all mix and match. It's no longer where it's these particular ladies who only wear couture, and it's these young girls who only wear high street. I mean, everything, like you said, you're wearing a polo shirt. I'm wearing an Under Armour top, which is very high street. I have a Chanel necklace on, which is not considered high street. So it's all mixing and matching. And that is the future of fashion. You are an individual. We expect all of you to be inspired, but also make it your own. It's how you wear it.
Yes, and I agree.
When you are designers, or whether you're the buying public, always keep in mind that fashion is constantly changing. There's no ancient rules of right and wrong. There's no seasonal rules where you can't wear this and don't do that, and open toe shoes for this and closed toe for that. those days are fast receding. We expect the industry to flourish where you as an individual shine. So keep being yourself and always be very confident in what you wear.
Yes, and yes, wear something smart. Okay, so until next time.